So, what I wanted to talk about today was something that happened last night, afternoon, evening with my daughters. Um, it was with my two high schoolers, and it also involved like my two older daughters. And we had to kind of like have what we call family meetings. It started on the phone, and then it ended so great that my older daughters ended up coming over last night, cooking dinner, and we was chilling. And then my nephew came over, and it was a nice little vibe. And what transpired allowed us to really see that all my babies have my emotional behaviors, my emotional mindset, my emotional temperament. They're very sensitive babies, and that's because mommy is sensitive, right? So we're very strong, right? But we're very sensitive creatures. You would be surprised on how emotional I can be, especially a lot of people that just knows my strength, right? My ability to endure and all. They have no idea how wimpy I can be. My fiance can tell you how wimpy I can be. Because that only comes out with certain people, I think. And when I realize how sometimes I can be over emotional and it can cause a situation to be blown out of proportion, I see that happen sometimes with my children because of just not knowing how to handle when the emotions come over. It's hard to kind of analyze what's really happening. And a lot of times you'll see a child, they're going through things and you just think, they're not stressed. They ain't got nothing to be stressed out about. You'll be surprised. They're stressed for their level, for what they little bodies can handle, what they've gone through in life and what they've learned so far. And when they face something, you get the best that they can give, because it's not like they've been through no whole plethora of stuff. They've only been through certain little things. Somebody taking their pencil, somebody taking their lunchbox, somebody making fun of them in school, somebody taking their seat on the bus, somebody, little stuff like that. But when they start to transition into high school, it's another thing. So my high schooler, she's realizing how difficult high school is compared to middle school. The balancing of your work kind of is half and half. It's half the teacher's responsibility, half your responsibility. They're not coming after you, clocking you the way that they do in elementary. You failing, you missing your assignments in elementary, after the first two assignments, they calling your mama. High school, they wait until you failing. Okay, they not calling after the first two assignments. When I go in my my child's school portal, and I'm like, why is there so many missing assignments? Like, when did this happen? And it's like, if they're going through so much in school, just trying to maneuver through the peer pressure and all the stuff going on, them finding themselves, them coming across that whole boy feeling, liking boys, and all of that is now coming into their realm. Now you get to the point where the focus starts to get shifted in your child, and if you don't observe that something is happening when that child starts failing, if they were a child that were doing great, then you're missing. So for me, I'm looking at, I'm like, you started off good and now you going down. What's the matter? When you really sit down and talk with her, you realize that there's a lot of little emotional things that she's going through. Her confidence in herself, her ability to feel like she can do anything, her drive, her desire to do stuff is just, it's dwindling. And I'm wondering, okay, why is this happening? Because it's not like, you're getting treated any way for you to feel lack of confidence and my other daughter, she broke it down so good that I was just in awe to how well she knew her sister. She was like, Ma, she stresses out about everything. She stresses out about not making her bed. She stresses out about getting yelled at. She stresses out about school. She stresses out about if her hair, like every little thing. The amazing emotionalness of their mother, they all got, they are very sensitive, and they will beat themselves up if it's something that they don't like. That's definitely a trait they've gotten from me. It's not something that I think I can fix or get them to get rid of, because it's a part of them. It's part of it's kind of who they are. That's what makes them so sweet, right? I think the key is just breathing life into them when they get like this, because I remember when I was in high school and I was going through it. I was a skinny little ugly little thing, and I thought I was everybody else. I thought I was a skinny little ugly little thing in high school, okay? And my confidence is never shaken because I don't feel good about myself. It's always shaken because of when I was basing myself off of people's perception or what people say. And a lot of times you really can't do that, because a lot of times you have the hidden agenda of keeping you away from knowing who you really are, or keeping you away from knowing how dope you are. Okay? So you got to constantly be fighting to breathe life into yourself. That's why I love affirmations, because you're constantly not only uttering the words that you want to hear, but you're saying them over and over repeatedly, to the point. I always say, you ever hear a song that you don't really like at the beginning, the first time you hear it, you don't really like it, but after hearing it about 20-30 times on the radio, you start singing that hook, you start bopping to it. There's a part of it that actually resonates with you, so it becomes that, all right, it ain't too bad. It's kind of the same thing, it's like understanding that things you can grow into things can grow on you, right? So if you are a certain kind of way where you're questioning yourself, you have a lack of confidence, you don't believe that you can do certain things, you're not motivated, all you got to do is say the opposite and believe it, and you will see that shift in you, right? You don't need people to do that for you. You don't need anyone to validate you. I guarantee you can validate yourself as long as you believe it. If you don't believe it, then your spirit, your mind, your heart, it ain't gonna believe it. Like, you saying it, but you don't really believe it. So, all right. But you see, when you believe that thing, and you operate in that belief of that thing, you'll be surprised on how you show up. You'll be surprised on how your confidence level it turns up. Like, hold up, yeah, okay. You gotta get to that point. And if you don't even know how to get to that point, how could you help your children to get to that point, especially your daughters? This is for mothers. We talk about these little girls out there and what they're doing and yada, yada, yada. But we got to look back at ourselves, because everything they're doing, they learn from us. Like, I'll always be like, oh my God, things are so crazy now. My fiance be like, it ain't crazy. It's just because we got these phones and we could see videos. This stuff was going on years ago, because our mamas was doing the same thing, and our mamas was doing the same thing. So it's nothing different. It's just now that we have these phones, we get to see all different types of what it looks like from different angles, different personalities. So you see that there's a variety of people out there. There's a variety of ways that people think, and you just got to figure out the way that you think. You got to figure out what works for you. You got to figure out, am I emotionally crazy that I need to get that under control? Am I one that just don't care enough that I need to get that under control? Because sometimes you just might not have that bug in you that is constantly concerned. It's like some people just feel like once they pay the bills, once they do this, you good. When you get 18, get up out my house. And I'm not gonna judge those people. I'm just gonna say I would love to understand why you feel that way. Because for me, if my kids could live with me forever, I would keep them home forever. I sure would. I would give me a compound and give them all a house on that land, and we all right here. You could have your family, you have your family, and we all, and I'm in my house and y'all in your house, but we all right here. If I could have that, that's definitely what I would try to create for my future, for my kids. But some people, they want their kids deep out, go to another state. I don't even want to see you no more. I don't know where that feeling comes from. I don't know what causes that, and I don't feel that, so I can't really speak on that. So I'm not going to speak on that. Those people can speak on that. I can only speak on what I experience. And what I experience is the ability to be able to be what my kids need me to be at all times. At all times. Even when they're like my older kids, you would think that they're grown, they live in their life, yada, yada, yada. But the relationship that I've worked really hard to create with them, it's there because they desire it, right? What I've done in their lives got them to a place to where they desire to talk to mommy about this. They desire to get mommy's input on this. It's not that they have to. They don't have to call me for nothing. They grown. They can do whatever they want to do. But they desire to get the guidance. They desire to speak to someone that's been there, done that. Help me how I can figure it out. And mind you, we help each other. Because it's like, there's things that I'm still learning. There's things that I'm still dealing with. And I still have to be there for them. Like my mother always said this, when kids are little, they tie your foot. Meaning ain't much places you can go. You ain't clubbing, you gonna have that baby on your hip or on your back. But when they get older, she always say, when them older, them tie up your heart. And I'd be like, what? How did you come up with that? Because that is the realest thing I ever heard. They do. My poor heart be in pain, just worrying, scared. Because when they're little, they're with me, so I can kind of protect them. When they're older, they're not with you at all times. So you worry about them. You're constantly praying to make sure that God protect them, keep them safe, because they're not in your presence. And to have children that desire to be in your presence in their adulthood, they didn't dislike their childhood so much that all they want to do is get away. I'm thankful for that, because it could have went totally different. I could have not survived the domestic violence relationship that I was in. I could have ended up in a crazy house. I could have ended up doing some craziness and all my kids is in foster care. It could have went so many different ways. And by the grace of God, I'm here and I have an amazing relationship with my kids. And I'll tell you, it's not something that I got right every day. There were times that I was making hella mistakes. There were times that I was doing things that were affecting my kids. And I had to regroup. I had to reassess, and I had to do the work. So my encouragement to everyone today is really do the work. And first assess your situation and figure out where you need to do the work and get it done. Because it's not just for us. You think that when you behave a certain way that you're creating your peace, which you're really creating your children's hell. So take the time, sit with your kids, talk with them, explain to them certain things, and also assess yourself and do the work on yourself, because you can't control what other people do. You can't control what the father does, and a father can't control what the mother does. And a lot of times we get caught in this thing where we want to control the parenting. We want you to parent the way I see fit. And we can't do that. I'm not going to allow you to do anything to hurt my kid or violate them, but I can't control your level of parenting. I got to allow you, because what I realize sometimes is sometimes you and your partner come from two different backgrounds, two different upbringings. So the things that you may know and grew up on, your partner may not, right? But your child possess everything that's in you and that person. So there's things that person is going to know how to handle in that child that you may not know how to handle when it shows up, because it's more along the lines of them opposed to it being along the lines of you. So with that, you got to understand that you need both. You need both of the balance you need to make sure that even though that side of you may not be you, if you identify that side of your child is the other parent, you got to find a way to nurture it, especially if that other parent is absent. Meaning you got to find a way to help them work through the obstacles that they're facing, to help learn to communicate if they're having communication issues, to learn how to feel, be motivated, develop drive. You got to work on these things. If you have a child that lack those things and damn, they get that from their daddy, and it's not you, you got to figure out how to help them with that. If that parent is MIA, it's your responsibility. Because you, especially the mom, I always say this, and moms, I know you might get mad at me about this, but I'm sorry. We are the ones that carry that baby. We had 9 months to make a decision if this is what I want to do. 9 months to prepare mentally. Okay? 9 months. So when that child get here, you better get it together. Okay? Get it together, because it's only going to make your life harder, and it's going to take years off of your life if you don't try to get it right. Because getting it right can look different, because your right may be different from my right. Your village is going to look different from my village, but whatever it is, get it and get it done so that you can be the best version of you. Have a blessed day.